Solo Sikoa makes a huge mistake by recruiting Jacob Fatu. Is Roman Reigns Jacob Fatu's next target? Is CM Punk missing SummerSlam following Drew McIntyre's attack on WWE SmackDown? Finn Balor is conspiring with Liv Morgan behind the scenes. Jey Uso makes a referee, yeet, Jey Uso on Jacob Fatu, joining the Bloodline on WWE SmackDown, and more. Let's dive right in. Is Roman Reigns Jacob Fatu's next target? Jacob Fatu is in WWE. The Samoan werewolf is a veteran of the independent wrestling scene who has wrestled for Major League Wrestling, Game Changer Wrestling, and Reality of Wrestling, among other promotions. Now, after months of rumors and speculation, the former MLW heavyweight champion is officially part of World Wrestling Entertainment. He made his debut on Friday Night SmackDown in a major way. Fatu officially joined the Bloodline and did so by brutally beating down 3 all-time greats. He first took out Kevin Owens with a Samoan drop on steel steps. Jacob then hit a spear on Randy Orton through the barricade. Lastly, he put Cody Rhodes through a table with a massive splash. Jacob, immediately targeting 3 huge names, is a big start to his career on SmackDown. This might not be all he targets, however. Fatu clearly isn't the type who wants to feud. Instead, he's the kind who wants to jump people and fight, which means he could target a wealth of stars. Here is a handful of options. Number 1. LA Knight has a history of issues with the Bloodline. LA Knight is one of the most popular WWE superstars in the game today. He is a veteran of the industry, but only truly began taking off at a major level last year. Knight aims to win his first title on the main roster in 2024, but he could have other issues to deal with first. The megastar has his fair share of history with the Bloodline. He attempted to dethrone the then undisputed WWE champion Roman Reigns last year. This made him an enemy of Solo Sikoa and Jimmy Uso, in addition to the Tribal Chief. While Roman and Jimmy are gone, the bad blood between Knight and the Bloodline may still exist. If it does, Jacob Fatu could target the loud star and make sure he never says another word about the most dominant faction in pro wrestling. Number 2. Jacob Fatu could go after Paul Heyman after his disobedience. Paul Heyman is an icon in pro wrestling. He has been in the industry for decades and has done everything there is to do. Still, arguably, his peak in the industry has come in the form of being Roman Reigns' Wiseman in WWE. Unfortunately, Reigns is no longer around, which puts Paul in a tough spot. It is clear that Heyman is lost without Roman Reigns, but he may have made a grave error on WWE SmackDown. He tried to ask CM Punk for help, which did not sit well with Sikoa. That kind of disrespect to the Bloodline may not go unchecked. Jacob Fatu may be the one tasked with taking the former ECW owner out in a very physical and violent manner. This would take care of their Wiseman problem going forward. Number 3. He could want to win Logan Paul's WWE United States title. Logan Paul is a success story that nobody saw coming. A few years ago, the idea of Paul being a WWE performer was laughable. Now, he's the reigning United States champion and even defeated Rey Mysterio for the title. The Maverick has a big week ahead of him. He will be in a triple threat match with both LA Knight and Santos Escobar. The winner of the bout will go on to participate in the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. While Paul is focused on Money in the Bank, he may need to shift his attention to protecting his title. There's a very real chance that, supposing Solo Sikoa intends to go after Cody Rhodes, Fatu could want the United States Championship. As good as the Maverick is, he would be doomed if Jacob Fatu targets him. Number 4. Roman Reigns is the biggest looming threat. Roman Reigns has had an incredible run in WWE. He started his main roster career as a member of The Shield. From there, he broke out of the pack and became one of the top baby faces in the company, albeit with a mixed reception from the audience. Reigns truly hit his peak in WWE once he turned heel in 2020. He went on to become world champion and hold it for the bulk of the next 4 years, and only recently lost the gold and disappeared from television. Roman's presence is still looming, however, and he'll likely be back as a babyface. A babyface tribal chief is bad news for the Bloodline. Solo may be concerned, but one man who won't be is Jacob Fatu. In fact, there is a very real chance that Fatu will choose to step up to the head of the table and fight Reigns. If nothing else, don't be surprised to see Jacob jump Roman when the opportunity presents itself. Drew McIntyre's return on SmackDown was delightful. The latest episode of WWE SmackDown saw a shocking turn of events as Drew McIntyre ruthlessly took out CM Punk in the latter's hometown. Meanwhile, Raw superstar Karrion Kross has expressed delight at the return of his former rival. The Scottish Warrior was furious after the Second City Saint cost him the World Heavyweight Championship at Clash at the Castle 2024. In the Fallout edition of Monday Night Raw, McIntyre quit WWE and left the arena. On this week's WWE SmackDown, the best in the world cut a promo in his hometown, Chicago, and addressed his animosity with the Scottish Warrior. Later in a backstage segment, a garage door came up, and the camera showed McIntyre standing over the straight-edge superstar's lifeless body after being destroyed. Then the former World Heavyweight Champion put CM Punk on his shoulders and carried him to the stage. Following the events on SmackDown, the Final Testament's Karrion Kross took to X, formerly Twitter, and shared his reaction to the Scottish Warrior's return to the Stamford-based promotion. "Incredibly happy to see Drew McIntyre back in WWE SmackDown," he wrote. Wrestling veteran and former WWE manager Dutch Mantel shared his 2 cents on the recent events between the Scottish Warrior and the straight-edge superstar on SmackDown. Speaking on Sportskeeda Wrestling's Smack Talk, Dutch Mantel mentioned that the wrestling world did not expect Drew McIntyre's return this soon. The 74-year-old claimed he was on the edge of his seat after the Scottish psychopath left CM Punk bloodied. Very good. So I'm following the story. He quit, and of course CM Punk brought that up. I think they were expecting him, but not at that time. So when that door opened, all of a sudden it's Drew McIntyre standing there. A guy is lying down there, and for a minute, I didn't think it would be CM Punk. I thought it might be something else. It was him. So they had my brain running and racing, he said. Is CM Punk missing SummerSlam following Drew McIntyre's attack on WWE SmackDown? CM Punk signed a death wish for himself at Clash at the Castle the moment he ruined Drew McIntyre's grand moment in Glasgow, Scotland. It looks like Punk finally received his comeuppance on the latest episode of SmackDown, as his homecoming in Chicago turned into a nightmare. McIntyre unleashed a heinous attack on the Second City Saint and annihilated the latter in his hometown. Due to the barbaric assault, CM Punk was escorted to a local hospital through an ambulance in the middle of the show. In light of the ongoing carnage on SmackDown, there have been questions regarding his status for SummerSlam. However, Punk is unlikely to miss WWE's biggest carnival of the summer. The 45-year-old star might remain on hiatus for a few weeks following the vicious attack and return to WWE just in time for the August spectacle. His rivalry with Drew McIntyre has taken a whole new turn after what transpired at Clash at the Castle and on the latest episode of SmackDown. Therefore, CM Punk is expected to return in a few weeks and resume his rivalry with McIntyre. Not only has this feud transcended the heights of pro wrestling, but it is on the verge of becoming the biggest rivalry of this summer, which will likely culminate in a high-voltage clash at SummerSlam 2024. Following a vicious attack by Drew McIntyre backstage, CM Punk had to be admitted to the hospital. This indicates the severity of the carnage that McIntyre brought upon the Second City Saint, and also implies that the latter could be out for a while. While his status is obscure as of now, he is likely to be back before SummerSlam. There is a good possibility that Punk could return to WWE on the episode of Monday Night Raw after Money in the Bank, which will be held on July 8th, 2024. From Ottawa, Ontario. This is primarily because the Stamford-based promotion could shift its entire focus to the August spectacle following the MITB PLE. Moreover, WWE would have adequate time to add a final layer to the rivalry between CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, leading to the biggest party of the summer. Therefore, the July 8th, 2024 episode of Raw could be the place where the Second City Saint finally makes his return to WWE. However, the prospect of him returning before that cannot be ruled out either. Finn Balor is conspiring with Liv Morgan behind the scenes. According to pro wrestling journalist Bill Apter, a Judgment Day member other than Dominic Mysterio is collaborating with Liv Morgan. The veteran believes this could possibly spell the end of the faction. Liv Morgan has repeatedly put herself in confrontational situations with Dominic Mysterio. In a particular segment on Raw, Dominic was also offered Liv's hotel room key. Interestingly, Finn Balor was seen sneakily pocketing the key himself, while others were not looking. Speaking on Sportskeeda's The Wrestling Time Machine hosted by Mac Davis, Bill Apter stated that this may indicate an alliance between Finn and Liv. The veteran journalist explained, "I think that Finn Balor and Liv Morgan are in cahoots to wreck the Judgment Day. And I think that when Rhea Ripley comes back, all hell is gonna break loose. I think they are losing Dominic at this point. For some reason, I don't know what. But I think we are gonna see a big change in whatever is going on with Finn Balor here. I really do. I think he is the one that is going out with Liv." According to Teddy Long, Dominic and Liv's angle does not require Rhea Ripley to be brought into play in every segment. Speaking on the Wrestling Time Machine, the Hall of Famer stated, "They shouldn't have Rhea mentioned every week. Let everybody forget about her. Let everybody realize this isn't about Rhea. Let's see what Dominic is going to do here. Finally, when they get ready to do the deal, now you call Ripley." Dominic Mysterio and Liv Morgan's hotel room segment should involve a legend. A WWE Hall of Famer recently pitched an interesting idea for a segment involving Dominic Mysterio and Liv Morgan. According to the veteran, A surprise addition of another legendary character would be as intriguing as it would be entertaining. Speaking on Sportskeeda Wrestling's The Wrestling Time Machine, hosted by Mac Davis, Teddy was asked to book the segment in his own way. He stated that he would create a scenario where Dirty Dom would be fooled by Morgan into going to the hotel room thinking Rhea was back, and that's who he was meeting. Then Long said he would bring in the Boogeyman character to surprise everyone. So what I am saying is, Dominic now thinks that he is gonna meet Rhea. He is in the hotel room. He is the first one that is supposed to be in the bed. But here's what we gotta do. We gotta cut Finn off before Dominic even gets there. So we get rid of him, we cut him off somewhere, get him out of the picture. Now Dominic goes in and thinks Rhea then, he is ready. He pulls that cover back, it's the Boogeyman, pitched Long. Jey Uso makes a referee, yeet. Jey Uso and a WWE official were involved in an amusing visual at tonight's Bloomington live event. The former Bloodline member convinced the referee to do the popular yeet taunt during the match. Damian Priest defeated Drew McIntyre to retain the World Heavyweight title at Clash at the Castle, Scotland. He defended the belt against Jey Uso at tonight's Bloomington live event. In the end, the Judgment Day member managed to defeat Uso to retain the belt. A clip from the contest is now being circulated on X, in which Jey can be seen trying to convince the referee to do the yeet taunt. The referee ended up doing it to a loud pop from the fans in attendance. The yeet taunt has been synonymous with Jey for quite some time now. It has become insanely popular among the WWE universe and has led to massive merch sales numbers for the former Bloodline member. Jey does the popular taunt every single time he makes his entrance, with the crowd joining him as well. Many fans believe that Jey's popularity would lead to a world title reign for him somewhere down the line. Jey Uso on Jacob Fatu joining the Bloodline on WWE SmackDown. WWE Raw superstar Jey Uso recently took to his social media account and shared his reaction regarding Jacob Fatu joining the Bloodline. Uso has sent out an interesting message for the latter. In the latest episode of WWE SmackDown, Cody Rhodes locked horns with Solo Sikoa, and it was the American Nightmare who had the upper hand. Before the match could progress, members of the Bloodline, Tama Tonga and Tanga Loa, interfered and attacked Cody Rhodes. Due to the interference, the bout was called off, and Rhodes won the match via disqualification. The Bloodline tried to hit the American Nightmare with the Samoan Spike, but Kevin Owens and Randy Orton arrived to the squared circle to aid Rhodes. With the Tonga brothers made ineffective, Cody, KO, and Randy sidelined Solo Sikoa. It was then Jacob Fatu who made a powerful debut. Fatu attacked Owens at ringside, and then Orton, sending him crashing through the barricades. In the end, Jacob put Cody on the commentary desk and delivered a devastating Samoan splash. Since Fatu has joined the Bloodline, the faction will now bring and influence major storylines on SmackDown. Taking to his social media handle, Jey Uso reacted to the entire incident and majorly Jacob Fatu's arrival into the stable. He posted the eyes emoji, making it clear that he had taken notice of the arrival of the Samoan werewolf. Sikoa makes a huge mistake by recruiting Jacob Fatu. Last night's episode of SmackDown ended in chaos, as Jacob Fatu debuted and officially joined the Bloodline. It was a huge move that seemed to be orchestrated by Solo Sikoa. Fatu tore through everyone, and in the end, he stood tall along with the rest of the group. But did Sikoa make a huge mistake recruiting Fatu in the first place? The answer to this question lies in what went down during the whole segment. First off, Jacob Fatu was nothing short of savage. Living up to his nickname, the Samoan Werewolf, he did not hold back. No one could get through to him, not even Solo Sikoa himself, who called out to him on several occasions, only to be ignored. Secondly, some may wonder if Jacob Fatu is fully loyal to Solo Sikoa and the Bloodline. After the havoc he created, Fatu entered the ring and shared a moment with Sikoa. The street champion hugged him, but some may have noticed that Fatu didn't hug back. Finally, even the Tongans, who have been uncontrollable since joining the group, shared a look that was filled with skepticism over Fatu's presence. Taking all this into consideration, one has to wonder if this recruitment was a good decision on Solo Sikoa's part. First impressions are last impressions, and Fatu seems like a problem. And, while he isn't a problem for the Bloodline now, there is no telling what could happen further down the line. There is no denying that Jacob Fatu's debut was impactful. On his first night, he showed the WWE Universe just what he was capable of. Not only did he take out Cody Rhodes, but he also took out Randy Orton and Kevin Owens single-handedly. Some may say he was the star of the show, and that could be a major concern for WWE. A few months ago, WrestleVotes reported that some concerns regarding the Samoan werewolf were delaying his debut. In particular, they were worried that he would outshine Solo Sikoa, who now sits at the head of the table. As a result, WWE Creative has been pushing hard to emphasize to the WWE Universe that Solo is the main force in the Bloodline. Now that Fatu is on SmackDown, it's safe to say that WWE has put those concerns to one side. It will be interesting to see how things develop going forward and how Fatu's debut affects the Bloodline.